Hi everyone, this is the third video of the series on learning Django. In the last video, we learned login and registration functionalities. In this video, we will use the previous programs and develop a block platform. It will give you an understanding of how CRUD operations work in Django. If you haven't seen the previous video, the link can be found in the description below. If you have seen my first video, we had created a blog application and we had created a blog model as well. We will use the same blog model for this tutorial purpose and build a complete blog platform on top of it. Since our blog model is already created and in the previous lectures we had run the migrations also, so our tables are already created. Now in order to get started, we need our view functions ready here. For any blog application, we need four primary functions. First is to list the blogs, second is to create a blog, third is to edit the blog, fourth is to delete the blog. And we will look at all those views functions one by one. Let's start with the list function. So we will first create our list function in the view file, and then we will create corresponding template in the template directory, and then we will create our URLs so as to point the request to the correct view file. Alright, so let's create our list function. Okay, so our list block function is created now and it's pretty normal stuff. You can see that we are calling our blog model and rendering it in the list.html template file, which we need to create now. So let's do that. Alright, so our list.html file is created now. You can see that I have extended the layout.html file, which we had already learned in the second video. And then we have this content block. Inside the content block, or our dynamic content would be rendered on the browser. And then we have this all blog variable, which we had passed from the view function. And then we are looping through it. We are printing all the variables here. If there is no blog in the database, we are printing it as no blog found, and this is a special template tag present in Django, so we have used it. And yeah, I think now we can create our urls.py file and then see how it looks like. Okay, so I have created an entry in the main urls.py file in order to enroute all the requests to the blog application if it starts with blog. And inside this blog urls.py file, I have created an entry here so that whenever blog slash all request is sent, this list blog function is called. Now we will check how it looks like in our browser. So I have my browser here and let us see how it looks like. Okay, so you can see that I have already used Bootstrap here, so I didn't have to write a lot of CSS to add style to this table, but you can use your own styling to decorate it in a different way. Here I have two blocks which I had created earlier, so we will see how we can edit these things and how we can create new blocks from here. So let's first start with the create function. So for that also we will create one view function in the views.py file, and then create corresponding HTML file, template file I should say, and then we will make an entry in the urls.py file. And one important thing that I want to highlight here is that during this process we will create one model form which will be mapping all the uh, operations with the blog model. So I'll show you how we would do that. Okay, so I have created my create blog function here, a model form here which is blog form, and then the template file here. This is to create an update blog, and then I have created an entry in the urls.py file here. It is a rendering blog form if there is no post request, and if the form is submitted and the request type is post, then we are passing all the post data inside this blog form and then checking if the blog form is valid, and if it is valid then we are saving the data and then we are returning back to list blog function. Now very important point that I want to highlight here is this is valid function. So you might be thinking we have not written any validations yet, but we still calling this function to validate our data. Well, although we have not written any validations yet, it's referring to the model constraints that we have applied during our model creation. For example, if it is a blog title, then we have added a max length constraint there, so that constraint will automatically be applied here. And this save function, although we are not calling it on the model directly, it will be saved in the right table because this model form is using the model directly. And then we have these two special functions provided by Django, and this reverse function will map this named URL into actual URL. So you can see this blog and list blog function, how this blog is the app name and then this list blog is the root name. And it can be seen here, we have already declared our app name here and then the root name here. So this is our blog function. Now if we would go to our forms.py, we have already seen this. In the form.html file, we have again extended this layout.html file, and then we are printing our form like this. So we will add a button here on top of it. You can see here I have created a link to create the blog. Now we will go back to our browser, see how this function works. We will click on create. Let's try to add test data, test another title, test another description. Submit it. So our blog is now created. Now we will create some action blocks here to edit and delete our blocks. This is our update blog function. It's more or less similar to that of this create function. However, there is one line that I want to highlight here, and that is this get object or 404. What this function does is we are passing this primary key as the parameter, as the function parameter, and if the block corresponding to this primary key, if it is not found, then this function will throw 404 error. And rest of the stuff is same as that of this create block function, except that when we are initializing our block form, we are passing some initial data that we have received from this function. As you can see here, we will be using the same form.html file, so you don't need to create any extra template file here, but we have created our URLs here, and you can see how we are calling this update function. This parameter is restricting our functionality to pass only integer value as the ID here, and rest we have already seen what those mean. And we will create a link here in our list.html file. So we have our update functionality here. Now let us try to edit this title edited and save it. So you can see that this title has been updated here. Now we will see how delete functionality work in Django. This is our delete block function, and since we are deleting a block, we don't need any additional template file, but we do need a URL for this delete block function. So I have created this block function here, and then the URL here, and we will create this link in our list.html file. So our delete link is created here. Now we will go back again to the browser and see how it works. Now let's click on this delete button. Okay, so our blog is deleted now. I hope you have learned something from this video, and if yes, please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel to keep watching such videos. Please also comment if you have any questions related to the programs I have shown on the screen, and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.